What's up, everybody? It's the one, the only, the Phenome, and welcome to yet another Phenome special video regarding World of Warcraft Legion. So today we're going to continue the artifact weapon discussion series. This is, if I remember correctly, the 6th out of 12 videos, so we're going to be halfway there by the end of this one, and we're going to be discussing the Druid today. That's right. The Druid, all 4 specs, because obviously Feral and Guardian aren't the same, like it was previously, like several expansions back. I'm old-fashioned, whatever. I felt the need to mention that. It's out. Let's move on. And yeah, let's take a look at the artifact weapons for each spec, and we're gonna start off with the balance. So, balance is a damage spec for the Druid class, and the weapon they're going to be wielding is the Scythe of Elune. Now, the description reads, this mystical artifact was created millennia ago from the Staff of Elune and the Fang from the wolf demigod Goldrin. The Scythe of Elune carries a long and unsettling history for Druids. Those who are not careful enough can easily be overwhelmed by Goldrin's spirit, which infuses the scythe. Tied to the origin of the Worgen on Azeroth, the Scythe is said to possess untold lunar power for the Druid with balance enough to keep control. Okay, this one is a bit confusing lore-wise, and I'll go straight off the bat. The Staff of Elune, I have no idea what that is. I'll be quite honest with you. I have no idea what that is. I mean, obviously, yeah, it came from Elune, the moon goddess, and yeah, it's a staff. That's as much as I can tell about this side. About the other side, however, is going to be quite a bit more bountiful. Let's just say that I have more information on that. So let's start at the beginning. Goldrin, who was the wolf demigod, he fell during the War of the Ancients. Now, according to the most likely of all theories, in my opinion, after the war, a fang from Goldrin's body was retrieved, and it was retrieved by a band of druids. Now, they somehow got kind of I guess they got overwhelmed by the Great Wolf's essence and his spirit, basically. It granted them the power to shapeshift into wolves themselves, but my guess is this form was very hard to control, and in the end, basically, maybe through a kind of a fusion of the spirits, they became Worgen. This would explain the connection with the Night Elves, because I mean, it's shown, which is shown during the starting experience, and the fact that Worgen are the only other Alliance race, and basically, when you look at it, oh no, trolls can be druids as well, right? But anyhow, on the Alliance side, they are the only other race who can be druids, and they had to have a connection with another ancient race, and it is indeed maybe through the druids who originally, the originators of the Worgen, who were initially night elves, basically. At least that's what my guess here is. Now, what happened to the Fang between the War of the Ancients and basically the current days? We don't know that. We don't know that. What we do know is that during the Third War, the Archmage, the Archmage Aragal was fighting basically the Scourge during the Third War, and well, he was losing. He was losing bad, and to try and sort of change the tide, like turn the tide, basically, he found a way to summon in Worgen into Azeroth. Now, this is interesting because summoning in Worgen, that's kind of weird, actually, because why would you need to summon them in if they were on Azeroth all along? So I think there might be a point where the Worgen just took off from Azeroth and maybe took over another planet. We don't know that either. I mean, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. But anyhow, basically the Archmage Aragal, he summoned the Worgen, he couldn't control them, and basically it all ended up with him being locked up in Shadowfang Keep, where he was driven insane, and basically he then he kind of found a way, I guess, to at least work with the Worgen, and basically everything else that was in classic WoW. Basically, when you killed him in the Shadowfang Keep dungeon. Um, that's on the Worgen side. But here the actual weapon, the actual side of a loon comes into play. During that same war, there were battles both in the Eastern Kingdoms and in Kalimdor. And during these battles in Kalimdor, uh, there was this night elf, Valinda Starsong, and basically she received the scythe from the goddess Elune in a time of dire need. And through the weapon, she was granted power to summon Worgen, and they were under her command. I think this was somehow to do with her controlling the scythe. Basically, that's why the Worgen would obey her. But still, even after the first few battles, the Worgen packs began to basically stray away. And yeah, for some reason, and this is kind of weird. From Kalimdor, she went to the Eastern Kingdoms. How she did it at that time, I have no idea. It doesn't say, but she lost the side in a cave in Duskwood. There is the Dark Riders of Karazhan are tied into this bit, but honestly, it's freaking confusing. So I don't really know how all that plays in, and if they actually got it or not. But actually, the final place where it supposedly popped up is in Northrend. So basically, it's just jumping from place to place. It's all over. It's really confusing. Actually, it's just confusing. And basically, there is a quest in Grizzly Hills where a group of trappers asks you to recover a certain chest. Now, you do that, you recover the chest, and through some in-game dialogue and some quest text, there are hints that the scythe is contained within. And also, it's speculated that the trappers who asked you to recover this chest were actually members of former Archmage Aragol's wolf cult, which he established. And yeah, basically Aragol was dead at that point, but his shade was still alive. I think he was working for the Lich King, if I remember. Correct me here if I remember this incorrectly, but yeah, I think he was working for Lich King, but he was defeated in a latter quest, and in the end there was no sign of the scythe. So you can assume that this trapper leader who you gave the box to, he kept the scythe for himself. And yeah, the main thing is, like, when we look at what we might be getting in Legion, we might need to face off against the trapper, whose name is Ivan, and he now possesses the scythe. And I really hope we're gonna get some really good insight about the Worgen homeworld or realm. I mean, if they're being summoned in, I kind of doubt they were summoned in just like from some other area of the world. They were summoned in from another planet. There has been almost like confirmation of that as well. And there have even been rumors that they're fighting a faction called Lords of the Emerald. They call the Lords of the Emerald Flame, which is speculated to be the Green Dragonflight. So how the hell all that ties in? It's ridiculous. In any case, I hope we'll get some actual insight about the Worgen homeworld, and yeah, basically there is immense lore potential here. We might find out answers to so many questions, and yeah, hopefully we'll get at least some answers during the artifact questline. And one last thing, I like the last passage about saying that you need to have the balance to stay in control of the artifact. And who knows, maybe that might be a mechanic for the weapon in game. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. Okay, I've been talking for what seems like an eternity about this, so let's take a look at the weapon variants for the Scythe of Elune. And to be honest, this is something that I expected. With the Druids, there isn't much call for like sophistication or fancy weaponry. I mean, this is nice and simple, but also it's deadly in the hands of a capable fighter, and in this case, a capable druid. The base version is very plain, nothing much going on there, apart from the moon at the top of the shaft and actually, that is a beautiful addition. I really like this color scheme and like kind of the like I don't know, kind of the energy seeping from it. It looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful. The enhanced version is nearly the same, but with a couple of subtle touches. You can kind of you can look at it and immediately understand that it is more powerful than the base version, which is the point. And yeah, and the moon ornament is bigger, more defined as well. So thumbs up for me on that. That's pretty cool. Uh, the middle one almost seems to be like a loon tribute one because the blade is basically a moon. Again, a moon shape. I mean, sure, the spot where the moon ornament on the other two are, it's still there. It's just made from the kind of the comes out of the shaft of the weapon. But yeah, the blade is like the moon, and there could be potential for some beautiful animation, lunar animations there. Okay, what else? The fiery one. I mean, no set is complete without a little fire, and as all fire weapons, it looks awesome. It looks awesome. Fiery moons. Why the hell not? And yeah, not very thematic, but it's still cool. And finally, of course, there had to be a corrupted version, which is probably inspired by the Emerald Nightmare in this spot. And basically, it has it all: dark colors like claws or fangs, uh, the black moon, in the like at the spot of the ornament. It's like brambles on the shaft. It's all there. It's if you like corrupted ones, I think this one is right up the corrupted alley, basically. Oh no, this is decent. No really mind-blowing ones, but then again, I feel like this should be similar to the warrior. There is no need for super sophistication here, just basically having the right tool for the job. Of course, I think balanced druids are gonna say like they deserve a proper, like a sexy weapon, and I agree. But to me, the class fantasy doesn't really call for a fancy weapon. Okay, enough. I've been talking about balance forever in general, so let's move on to feral. Now, feral druids are going to be damage dealers, and the weapons that they're going to be wielding are the Fangs of Ashamain. The description reads: the massive Grey Panther Ashamain, one of the first wild gods, was one of many to answer the call of the demigod Cenarius and defend the world of Azeroth during the War of the Ancients. She fell in battle against the Legion, but saved countless lives in the process. A great shrine was built in her honor in Val'sharah, and her fangs were adorned and put on display there. It is said that they still carry much of her power. Okay, not much to say here. This is yet another weapon tied into an ancient, in this case the Panther Ashamain. Same as quite a few of these kind of beast avatars. She fell in one of the battles against the Legion during the War of the Ancients. Here we have a situation the same with Goldrin. Her fangs were taken from the body, and to be fair, I don't know how that could have happened because honestly, if these are demigods, uh, I don't know, or basically even not demigods, but basically ancients or the wild gods. I don't know, taking fangs from some entity like that, it would feel like the spoiling, basically for me. But that may be just me. So yeah, basically her fangs were taken from the body, but this time there supposedly was no corruption, no issues as far as we can read here. It's going to be interesting to see how the questline will play out, since I doubt that you will simply walk over there, say, guys, I need these weapons to save the world, and they're just going to be, okay, here you go. Here are the weapons of our that basically are the centerpiece of this shrine. No problem. Just go and do your thing, man. We're behind you. My guess is that there might be theft involved, and perhaps there could be a cult which would use these fangs to summon a nightmare version, a corrupted version of Ashamain, and basically by rewarding that from happening and freeing the pure spirit of the Great Panther, it would reward you with these weapons, and yeah, I think that could be a reward for basically breaking up the cultist ritual or something. That's one of the options that could happen there. I think that would be pretty cool. Um, yeah, all of this is still to be announced, and we don't really have any information here about this, about Welshara. So yeah, this is going to be a very short one, and now we should rather look at the basically the weapon variants. Although in this case, it's not going to be quite like that. And in my opinion, this is one of the most exciting additions to Legion. As you can see here, there are no weapon variants for the daggers that you saw the Night Elf wielding in the previous picture. Instead, the feral cat, the feral cat form itself will be enhanced and changed based on your choice, which is awesome. The two versions on the left are really early renders, and they portray what I believe to be Night Elf Druids. The one to the left looks to be the base form, and yeah, it just looks great with that fresh model, and the armor on the front legs looks really cool as well, kind of almost like Transformer stuff, you know. The spectral one to the right is one of the kind of the bonus forms. Like, it's not the enhanced one, it's like one of the bonus ones, and it looks absolutely awesome. And yeah, the seeping energy on top of it looks great, and paired with that big mane and nasty looking claws, it's pretty scary to look at, actually. I mean, you know that this cat means business. You know that. The form on the right side is kind of the another one of the bonus versions, and it seems a bit too fancy, too fiddly. But maybe that's just me. It looks great, no question about this, but it might be a bit too fiddly for me. And I like kind of I do like the stripes and the spots and the feathery looking features, and the bit of armor that's on the kind of the shoulder on the legs itself. That looks great, really cool, really cool. And yeah, I haven't, of course, as you can see, I don't have all of the versions here. But if you want, if you want to see more, there is a Nightmare version and a Treant style version of this form shown on MMO Champion. So check those out. They look absolutely beautiful. They look absolutely beautiful. The Treant one is is very interesting in particular. I mean, that's something that I would prefer to use in game, because it looks absolutely awesome. Yeah. In the end, the only thing that I'm a bit concerned about is that at the moment it looks like Alliance and Horde Druid forms are actually going to be the same, and at least in terms of the Feral form and the Guardian form as well. Actually, they look the same. We haven't been presented with two sets of forms, like for the Alliance and the Horde Druids, because now I think you can tell the difference between the Horde Druids, trolls, and the Torrent. Sorry, yeah, and the Alliance Druids, which are the Worgen and the Night Elves. So hopefully there will be distinctive forms for the two factions, as it has been for quite a while. Because basically, that, in my opinion, that gives the Druids basically a bit more identity than others. But in the end, I think the awesomeness of the new forms might cancel out this kind of slight issue. It's a concern, but if these forms look as amazing in game as they look now, we're gonna be fine. So all in all, in my personal artifact visual rating, this is within the top 5 of the bunch. The forms look amazing, and I legitimately can't wait to try one out myself. Okay, from one shapeshifter to another, let's move on to Guardian. Now, Guardian is a tanking spec for the Druid class, and the weapons they're going to be wielding are the Claws of Urzok. The description reads: forged from Titan steel by the Titanic Watcher Keeper Freya, these claws were her gift to the Great Bear Urzok, one of the wild gods. He wielded the claws in countless battles until his death during the War of the Ancients. Although his body faded away, the claws remained, and legends say a fragment of his spirit lingered within them. After wresting the claws away from Urzok's Furbog followers, a band of druids took the claws to the Emerald Dream, sought out Ursoc's spirit, and returned the claws to him for safekeeping. Right, more artifacts tied to the ancients. Oh, sorry, sorry. This time the ancient in question is the Great Bear Ursoc. I mean, it would be awesome if, by chance, the storyline would tell us a bit about the connection between Ursoc and the Furbolgs. There's definitely potential there for some good storytelling, and maybe I haven't found the information that basically links them, but it'll be interesting to see some stuff on the origin of the Furbolgs. But again, this might be another story for another time, but there is some potential for that here. In the context here, we are after the claws of Ursoc. Again, we see a Titan influence with the artifacts, and in this case, the Titanic Watcher Freya actually made these claws, which seems kind of weird, because I thought all the gents in the basically the Titanic Watcher Keeper group, she was the one who grew actually, who tended to growing things, and seeing that she all of a sudden is making like claws, that kind of weird. I don't really see. Also, I don't really see the point of a bear god needing an extra set of claws. I mean, he's the ultimate bear. Their claws are fine. The claws they have to be awesome in any case. So that seems kind of pointless. But hey, who am I to judge? In any case, it seems like the artifact was recovered by Furbolgs after the War of the Ancients and taken away with them. Again, I don't know how the hell they did that, and if they revered Ursoc, why they actually would do that. But hey ho. And yeah, basically after some time, druids took the claws away from the bear people and gave them back to Ursoc's spirit in the Emerald Dream. Now, to me, this screams Emerald Nightmare. I mean, a simple retrieval again shouldn't be an option, similar to the daggers in the Pharaoh description. You can't just walk in there and say, "Okay, Ursoc, buddy, hey, I need you to borrow your claws for a while. You know, there's Legion wrecking stuff, and I need to borrow your claws, man." I can't, even though that should be a pretty compelling argument. I don't think he's gonna turn over those claws like that. And I think that we might need to free Ursoc's spirit from the Nightmare's grasp, and as a reward, then we would be granted the claws. And basically, maybe we would gain his trust that way or something. Also, a bit of a nod towards the Nightmare theory was a moment during the Legion presentation at BlizzCon, and basically you could see, like, the surroundings of a place which could be linked to the Emerald Nightmare. I mean, it was dark, it was gloomy, it was God, Jesus, really getting sleepy. Yeah, it was dark, it was gloomy, it was basically, it seeped evil, and you saw a humongous bear looking like one of the form variants for the bear druids. And yeah, I think we will have to deal with Nightmare Ursoc. Now, how is that gonna play out? We can only guess, but it should be awesome. I mean, you're gonna be fighting a bloody demigod. That's as cool as you can get, basically, in the Druid world. Okay. So yeah, we can only guess, but it should be awesome. Now let's take a look at the form itself. Now I got only one image here for you. And well, it looks really cool. And this is the corrupted version of the bear form. It looks very fitting. I mean, gleaming eyes with what looks like fire, dark fur, and basically red spikes everywhere. It looks very intimidating and very dangerous. So very fitting. The other forms for the Guardian Druid have also been made available. You can check those out on MMO Champion as well, and they, again, same as Pharaoh, they look absolutely amazing. The base version actually looks similar to the Pharaoh basically in its style, with the bits of armor and all that stuff. And yeah, it's a rather simple look, but the armor kind of makes it quite cool. The enhanced version looks to be made of absolutely made of stone, and that's like absolutely bonkers. I mean, a stone bear. That's how cool is that? That's awesome. Then there's basically a version with bits of bone armor on it, which is again pretty cool. And in the end, of course, there is a like a friggin' lava or fire bear version. Yeah, it's a bear that looks like it's on fire from the inside, and the visual is stunning to say the least. I mean, yeah, it's great. It's great. All in all, good stuff for the Guardian Druid, and I really hope to see a story that's as good as the visuals, because yeah, you can't give such amazing visuals and not back it up with a great story, in my opinion. Okay, let's take a look at the final Druid spec, which is Resto. Now, Resto is a healing spec, obviously, for the Druid class, and the weapon they're going to be wielding is Ganir, the Mother Tree. The description reads, this is a single branch taken from Ganir, the first tree, which was gifted to mortal druids by the demigod Aviana long ago. Its connection to the mystical Emerald Dream serves as a healing and stabilizing influence on the world of Azeroth. In recent times, druids have used this staff to hold back the corruption and madness of the Nightmare. As a result, satyrs within the Nightmare are desperate to see Ganir destroyed. Well, I guess we can't have a druid weapon which is not connected to the ancients or the demigods. Brilliant. I mean, a plus for this one is like it didn't come from any demigod's body or something, which is a welcome change. So here we have a branch from the first tree to exist on Azeroth. So this branch was given to the druids by the demigoddess Aviana. How she actually managed to get it off? I mean, the first tree, it should be pretty sacred, and you're just breaking off branches from it. I don't know. But yeah, she did that, and I mean, she is a demigod. She can do whatever the hell she wants, I guess. Now, obviously, something like the first tree ever grown in the world is something really, really special. And from the text, I'm assuming that this tree basically started all the growth in both the real world and the Emerald Dream as well. I mean, why wouldn't it be? If you're basically going to populate the world with growth, you'll probably do it in both versions, both the normal world and the ideal one. So yeah, that's a thing, and yeah, uh, no surprises I think about the like the healing and stabilizing influence, basically the restorative powers of this tree, basically. No surprises there. I mean, if it serves as growth, I mean, growth is kind of the the way that druids heal. Basically, they regrow you. They regrow your missing bits of, I don't know, bone, like flesh or muscle or whatever. It's basically, I mean, one of their, I mean, Malfurion, for example, in Heroes of the Storm, he has a spell called Regrowth, literally, and I mean, Life Bloom and all that stuff. So yeah, it's fitting. It's fitting. Um, in current times, this staff is used by druids to hold back the nightmare's corruption, and obviously, Xavius' satyrs are not plussed about this. I mean, at least I'm assuming that Xavius' satyrs, because I think he's kind of the lord of all the friggin' vile demon night elf creatures, and yeah. They're obviously not plussed about this staff, about the tree, and I'm assuming that the Resto Druids might be in the thick of a satyr invasion at the end of the quest, or during the quest, basically. And it's kind of, in my opinion, a cool climax would be if you would have to face off, basically you leading the Druids of Val'sharah against the satyr force, and basically you're trying to push and empower the restorative energies, and for it to kind of take the corruption away, to burn it away, to basically, to, I don't know, to suffocate it with growth or something. I don't know how the druids really do this, but yeah. And yeah, and in the end, if you, since you would be instrumental in this victory, if you would actually lead the druids, obviously, again, the staff would come as a reward. So makes sense in my opinion. Not much else to say. I mean, again, this is fresh lore, so we can't really say much about this. And yeah, on a slight side note, I would really like to see Gonir itself. I mean, it's the concept is pretty cool. I mean, the first tree. There could be some interesting lore tied into it again. So yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to that, and hopefully we're gonna see the first tree that ever grew on Azeroth, and basically where you took the branch from, which is yeah, that would be pretty cool. Okay. Uh, yeah, not much to say. Not much else to say about this weapon. So instead, let's take a look at the weapon variants and talk about those a little bit. As you can see, again, it's kind of following the principle of the Druid, basically simplicity, basically natural simplicity, and nothing too fancy here. The base version looks rather simple. The enhanced version, I think, is kind of the most fiddly of all of them, with different bits and pieces and maybe even growth coming out, coming out of the top of the staff or something. Pretty cool. I actually, for me personally, the middle one is the one I really like. It's kind of a more elemental one, with I think the influence of like wind, with the forces of the wind, and it looks pretty good, pretty cool. Anytime you have energies kind of floating around the weapon, that's always cool in my book. Then we have two corrupted versions actually. The the one next to the middle one to the right, that one looks like more of a Twilight's Hammer style, like completely like ripped, not ripped apart, but withered or and crooked and basically old, you can say. And yeah, that looks literally like a corrupted one, like a fully corrupted one. The one next to it on the far right, though, it looks more like it's almost like a corrupted Arakoa weapon with the feathers there. It really has the bird motif, but then again, that would make sense because if you remember the description, this weapon was gifted by Aviana, and maybe this is kind of a little bit of an homage to Aviana herself. I'm a bit confused why it would be a corrupted weapon. I mean, she's not on the bad team, so that's a bit weird. But all in all, I quite like that. I actually like the feathery motif of that particular weapon. Although, still my favorite would be the middle, like the wind one. Oh no, good weapon. Good weapon. I think this is my favorite. No, I can't say that. Of course, the forms. The forms. You can't forget the forms. But this is good. This is good. Solid. That's what I'm gonna say. It's solid. Very solid. Okay. To sum everything up, the gripe for me at the moment is, well, basically not. It's not the gripe. It's the thing that we don't really have any decent lore connections to any of these weapons. Basically, for three of them, for basically everything apart from balance, we're going completely fresh with the new lore and stuff. So only speculation available there, and hopefully the scythe questline for balance is going to clear up some of the issues with the confusing lore. I mean, at the moment it's an absolute like it's a clusterfuck with basically with the origins. Like, okay, the origins are more or less clear, but with Argal and the night elf lady who summoned the Worgen in, it's just it's a clusterfuck in my eyes. It really is. Yeah. In terms of visuals, I think the staff and the scythe they do what they're supposed to do. They look actually the way they're supposed to. They're supposed to. They're simple, yet you can see that they're not exactly like basically a simple scythe or a simple stick, branch, whatever. You can see that there is power within these weapons, and it will be great to see maybe if some animation work will be put into the effects on these weapons, and if they're going to respond to the spells in a cool way. I think that's what basically all spellcaster weapons should do. You should you should use your weapon. It shouldn't just be an ornament on your back when you're casting. It should be a tool to actually cast spells in my eyes. That's the big thing. So yeah, overall, I'm satisfied. I'm very satisfied. I mean, the forms. God, don't get me started again on the forms. They are absolutely gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're awesome. I can't say enough. I can't sing enough praise for the forms, both Guardian and Feral. So yeah, I think the Druids are in a really good place with the artifacts, and they should be pretty satisfied. Okay, that's where I'm gonna conclude this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, then feel free to subscribe to my channel, and leaving a like or a comment would also be really helpful. Also, remember that the channel has Twitter and Facebook pages, so check them out. The links for those can be found in the description. Okay, that's gonna be it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.